Right, it's a beautiful day and let's start our trip off to Altrincham with the train arriving approximately 4 minutes late. And yes, here it comes. Very sedately. To those that have never seen it, this is the interior of Victoria Manchester Station. There's the old original station building in the background, and they've built this wonderful keep you dry covering, very much aimed as when you come down from your concert at the nearby Manchester Arena, you don't get wet. I've just disembarked from the tram at Altrincham Station, and ironically it shares the station with the mainline rail, as you can see here. And why I say ironically is that the trip out from Victoria to Altrincham on the tram is actually speedier than the trip from the more southern station, which is Piccadilly, to Altrincham on the traditional train. Despite being a garden phobia myself, I have to say the landscaping in the station is delightful, telling us that spring has well and truly sprung. And doing a quick look up, we can see the aptly named station buildings. Having come up from the station, hit straight away with my obsession, namely architecture. Very pleasant too. Nice vista to enter the town to. Ah, a fusion plate. Does that mean all the food sticks together? Just off midday, and well, it's not exactly the centre of the town, but it's quite perky and busy. Altrincham barbers are open, with presumably a special offer for beekeepers. Original building architecture still maintained on both sides. Quite pleasant to see. Does anybody know how to use one of those things nowadays? I shall be contacting trading standards forthwith. This is not a wooden street. Anyone been to a mathnasium lately? I presume it's to lift heavy numbers. And as we swing round very quickly, look what it's opposite. Very appropriate. Of course, this is one of those areas where assistance with tax could be deemed as necessary. The courthouse has an almost former Woolworths look about it, in fairness. Poor Suki, she seems to have forgotten her wardrobe. A nicely designed classic Travelodge dominating this part of the town centre. My, isn't that Travelodge quaint? I know my mind sometimes slips into the gutter, but when I see a shop called BAP, I think of other things besides bread. And as we wander along, you can see it's not especially a small town, to say the least. And of course, yes, we have to have a little bit of Tudor stuff going on. And the hospital slap bang in the centre, which that does make sense. Right, let's head to the famous market, which has been in the town since it was granted its charter back in 1290. Just beaten to the punch by Stockport we visited a little while back. There's a little pleasant snicket. And what's caught my eye? Yes, blue plate. let's be selfish about this. Forget the planet bit and the life bit. My body needs severe restoration. I'm not too sure on the full originality of this, or whether it is an original building or not, but very quaint. Sorry, I've used quaint for the second time. As we're at the top of the street here, a little bit of modernism fitting in with the town. And all new builds. And as we swing round, sorry if I'm going a bit quickly, this suite of buildings leading down to the famous market that I was telling you about at the beginning. More of a reason for me regretting giving up my vinyl collection and selling my turntable. Well, if the accessible entrance is on Market Street, presumably these stairs are useless and you can't get in the building. Not too sure the use of the word mort might be particularly appropriate. Both of my regular viewers to my channel are still kicked out over that. Must think I'm a bit of a lush, that I'm always attracted to Guinness signs and things. But at the end here, I must be honest, I wasn't expecting this. Sorry, Simon Cowbell, using your phrase. An Irish shop. Well, just look what I discovered, folks. Can you believe this? And look, Barry's Tea. I was just saying to the lovely young lady behind the counter, talking about, I can't remember Barry's first name, the son of, he was Minister for Foreign Affairs back in the late 70s, early 80s. And look at this, chef. What more could you want? And I've just seen over here, apologies, look. Potato. And even some Smithwicks, although they never had red ale in the days I lived in Dublin. And Silvermints. And needless to say, those not brought up in Ireland won't realise my excitement about seeing Club Orange and Club Lemon. And that's the famous Altrincham market as we sit here and enjoy my cup of Barry's tea. With a bite to eat, of course, as well. One of the more strange statistics is that of the 8 secondary schools in the town, 5 of them are grammar schools. Now, this means theoretically, and I'm only speaking theoretically because we've not had a good show so far over the years, that should some of the children, who later become adults, go on to quiz shows on TV, they might actually know that the Thames is not the longest river in Scotland, and that the official language of France is not Paris. One can but live in hope. Now, Altrincham is one of the few towns in the northwest that actually has an ice rink. I'm afraid this is the best I can do to show it you, because I'm too lazy to go walking all the way around and to go into what is now ostensibly a barn. It's not the original one. It has moved since all those years ago when my late mother, who would have been 99 this year, used to go ice skating as a young girl. There's also just outside the town, as you head slightly southwards, Dunham Massey, which is a very large 3,000-acre park. Fabulous. And Dunham Massey Hall sits on it. They just call it Dunham Massey, really. And during World War II, it was temporarily used as a hospital. So, interesting little bit of thoughts there. And you can just see I've put up some photographs that I took a couple of years ago. And it also has the most significant collection of Huguenot silver. Now, go on, madam, look up Huguenot. I'm not going to explain all that now. And it's a Grade 1 listed building, the actual manor house itself. And surprisingly, that not many people realise, the actual gardens and park are Grade 2 listed on the Register of Historic Parks and Gardens. So now you know. Also, Chapel Street in Altrincham, hopefully we'll find that as I wander around, has been designated the bravest street in England. And it's not for the reasons you might think, as a, oi, oi, you know, that sort of thing, not at all. It's 161 men from there alone volunteered for the First World War. Before we nip into the market, this had me completely intrigued. because as I was sitting down having my cuppa, everybody's wandering down through here. So I don't get it. Let's go and break the rules and not have a right of way myself. Every man. I presume that must be... Oh, look at this. Well, I would have thought you have to have right of way to get down here. Otherwise, you can't get in. I do have respect for the Chamber of Commerce movement, having worked at Leeds Chamber of Commerce for several years, many years ago, but taking business to new heights. Is that up this light pole? I'm not too sure. Why do they insist on using these twee statements? Nobody gives an absolute curse whether they're taking things to new heights or not. He's not hiding his light under a bushel name-wise, is he? This is delightfully bijou for the better weather. Be warned though, if you come down on a Saturday and the weather's lovely, you will not get a seat, inside or outside. Not that I'm discouraging you from coming down to Altrincham, please, don't think I'm doing that. And there's the market, the famous market. Quick peep inside, as you can see, it's still going strong. As I say, all the way back from the late 1200s, it's still here. I'm just assuming some of the goods aren't from the 1200s. Just nice to see a nice living market. I mean, look, it's stocked with all sorts of goods. Brilliant. Well, most markets are, let's be honest. But there it is, in all its glory. What a lovely market. Well, with my obsession with architecture, this is quite interesting. Opened 1887. Now it's a restaurant. And drum roll, please. Thank you. This is the site of the actual original Altrincham Charter Market that has now become lots of little eateries. That word's horrible, isn't it? I won't go in, but the original market has now transformed into an artisan eating place. And with the nice weather, use is being made of the exterior eating facilities, which is lovely. And here's a view down Shores Road, just outside the market. Lovely busy field to say it's, well, it is lunchtime, but it's just a standard Tuesday. Mind you, when is a Tuesday not standard? Just spied another blue plate, which saves me wittering on. Sorry folks, I am wittering again. Just to mention that, as I'm sure you've probably gathered by some of the video you've seen, that Altrincham was, and always really has been, a rather middle-class town. So you don't see, and please, I'm not being too judgmental here, well, trying not to be, you don't see a propensity of awful body tattoos and piercings and not too many blubber lips. You do see the more delicately finessed lips, I'll be quite honest. And we've got to the southeast, Wilmslow, which of course is quite posh. Bowden is just outside the town, which again, another posh area. And then to the south, there's Hale and Hale Barnes, which is considered the stockbroker belt of Manchester. And it's where all the footballers' wives, and all the entrepreneurs and big businessmen all live. And don't get me wrong, they have a right to live somewhere. It's fair to say that those who are wealthy, and please, they're very welcome to it, I'm not knocking it by any means. They work hard, they get their money, so there's not really a propensity to go on benefits and to what I will judgmentally say, scrounge instead of working. And that includes some of the current methods that a lot of disability allowance people, sadly, in this day and age, now use to avoid work or to halt their working career in their mid-50s. I'm sorry, I know I'm being judgmental, but it's a fact. This fine building, and I presume it's in its original state, is where Market Street and Church Street meet. I shall try and see if I can find somebody who knows more details about it. Well, it seems for a lot of its working life, this particular building was a bank. And it's now, my word, oh, that's the word I love when people tag solutions onto the end of their word. I mean, what does informed solutions mean? I mean, is a cup of tea is an informed solution because it's tea dissolved in water? This solutions business has annoyed me for decades. This is just a lovely little area of the town. Artisan dwellings, I don't know whether you call them artisan or not, and the orange tree inn just on the left. And this is a rather famous monument, I'm led to believe, so let's go and have a look on the inscription. Yes, it's the famous historic Market Cross. Of course, I say it's famous because that's what I read. The Market Tavern seems to be for sale. Interesting looking building, in fairness. And then as we look down the main A56, we can see at the bottom the hotel. Let's go and have an investigation. Oh, I found Charter House. I thought that's where the members of Genesis were educated. Plainly, I got it wrong. And this is the Cresta Court Hotel, which some 20 years ago was a fabulous place to stay the night, park your car for 2 weeks, and take their bus to the airport and return on the way back. Now, sadly, and please don't think I'm being any way naughty when I say it houses people of a particular background who may have come across on boats, not necessarily ferries. And we can't have a video without stopping just briefly outside the town's parish church. And here it is. I won't linger, but there's a quick picture of the bell tower. The bells, the bells. This, as you can see, is a rather busy road. Yeah, as I said, the A56, and that takes you up to Dunham Massey, I was telling you about earlier on, although you do have to turn right at, and where you turn right is the Vegetarian Society. Yes, the Vegetarian Society has its UK head office, or head piece of grass, whatever you call it, in Altrincham. And if anybody is interested, well, you nip along there and get guidance on how to be a vegetarian, which is really very simple. You just don't eat meat. As you head up that road next to the bank that's no longer a bank but is the office of somebody with solutions, continue up there, branch off, and you'll have to keep your windows of the car closed because otherwise you'll get the stench of money drifting in. Let's head off back down to the town centre. Just spied a place that spied, you get it, Russian lips. I wonder what Russian lips are. I haven't a notion. Although I do know if you put a hamster into a blender and do a Meghan Markle on it, you can make tulips from hamster jam. I've just spied Post Office Street. I'd go and post a letter, but I haven't got any with me. Where's the post office? Hello? Postman Pat, Postman Pat. There's Clifford showing off his relatives, Clifford's aunt. Oh, this looks interesting. Let's go and shop, work, eat, and do a bit of playing. Right, I promise no cheap jokes about Stamford's Passage. I'll stop. I'm lingering. This seems to be a new little area. Oh, it's, has it fully opened yet? I don't know. Oh, it's a passage to great retail things. If you want to clean your kitchen, you can buy some flannels. A shop devoted to flannels? Well, I'll be darned. And then, oh, it's a nice little... Oh, another W.H. Smith that's still open. Again, lease not run out. And it's a nice little retail area. Oh, glorious. Well, if you like that sort of thing. There have to be some shops that I could take the urine out of their names. There must be. Well, I don't need this because I look brilliant. Well, if you like a wrinkly old git, I suppose I look brilliant. Ah, we've got a mountain warehouse. I think I'll slip in and see any cheap offers on Everest. I could do with a 29,000 foot thing in my flat garden. Ah, a nice Waterstones. I've actually grown out of going into Waterstones and asking them if they stock my book. That's my old marketing book, which is now well and truly out of fashion because I wrote it before Tinternet took hold of everything back in the very late 90s. This is all very pleasant, and just look how busy it is for a Tuesday. Wonderful to see, it really is. Oh, heavy and metal, that reminds me. I must practice my smoke on the water. Oh, I never knew the late, great Bob was into schoolwear. Plainly so. Oh, it seems you can accessorize your monsoon here. I must do that after I consume a full tin of baked beans. Oh, the edit. In all my years in journalism, I never had to edit dresses. Hill and Hill the jewelers, and they're doing welded. I would have thought soldered might have been a likely more, delicate word for jewelers. Ugh, I wonder, is that the McWatches of Edinburgh or the McWatches of Glasgow? And in all this modernity, what do we see? Isn't that lovely? Bricklayers' Arms. Presumably they use that to take a rest from when they were building the rest of this, all down here. I'll just go back to the Bricklayers' Arms again. It's lovely. As they say on the BBC, the Strength Collective. They must avoid pronouncing the TH at any cost. Right, let's nip back into the older part of the town. And what better way than to go down the causeway? I don't know what a cause is, and I don't know which way you have to go to have a cause, but let's see if there's any effect from this particular cause. I suppose if ever you can't find it, it becomes a bit of a lost causeway. Oh, sorry. Let's move on. Oh, a helpful local lady has just told me it continues over here. Which it does. All the old cobbles. Oh, it takes us back to where we started on Stamford Place. We have emerged. Victoria House. They just managed to squeeze that in before 1901 when they wouldn't have been able to call it Victoria House. This is now Stamford House, and it's the front of station building that we saw earlier on when I first arrived in the town. Nice little pub opposite Station House. And, oh, Steve Daly's tribute to Elton John. Well, I'm now going to do my own tribute to Elton John, if I may. And I'll just say, thanks, Elton. And opposite Station House is the appropriately named Station Hotel. I'm not too sure it's hoteling anymore, but nice old building. Next to a set of Leviathans. You've got to have Leviathans, you need them. And in this part of the town, they're stretching as far as the eye can see. It's not a stupid statement, because the eye can see even further than that, but that's never mind. This apartment block, including clock, would cost you £4 million in a laneway in London. And I'm afraid that's it. My feet are telling me it's time to stop. Just spied this little blue plaque before I leave on the side of the bus station. And it's had a few nice awards as well. And I must say they're not unjustly rewarded. No litter anywhere, which is wonderful to see. It would seem they're trying to sell their security guards. And this is the location of Planet Ice. As I mentioned before, one of the few ice skating rinks in the north of England. Perhaps not the most effusive looking, but still, once you're inside on the rink, it does its job. Oh, choices, choices. Well, I've no one to bury, so I think I'll just go to Piccadilly instead. Again, I tender my apologies for missing so much, but it's quite a large town, and I have to say, in my previous videos, if you're an aficionado, my new word, of Altrincham, sorry if I missed out things that you find are important. As I make my way home after my day in Altrincham, what do you think of the shades? Hey, thank you kids, they brought me those. As I make my way home, just a little bit of a PS which I forgot about locally in Farnworth. You're probably familiar with the comedian Peter Kay. Do you remember Phoenix Nights? I'm sure you probably do. Hilarious comedy. Well, this is the very place that inspired it. Now admit it, you've never seen anything so inspirational in your life. Come on, be honest. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little ramble around Altrincham. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll just leave it by saying, see you next time.